On this episode of All the Mods 10, I show you guys how to make and use the digital miner from Mekanism. Then I update you guys on our new bee setup and Super Factory Manager code. I do a full walkthrough. Then we find Vibranium, go to the other dimension, snatch a Piglich, find an Unobtanium template, and pick up some soul lava for our thermogenerators. Then we get Unobtanium and make all of the bees for Unobtanium, Vibranium, and Allthemodium. Hello, welcome back. It is a rainy, gloomy day. I have a little confession to make. The previous episode that I filmed, I thought was really dry and boring, and I couldn't put you guys through that. So I came back after the math, and I'm going to make another video to hopefully replace that, but obviously I've already done all the things, so I'm going to walk you through what I did in the recording that I'm not actually going to post. We progressed on our bee setup a little bit more, and also set up some Mekanism machines. The reason why we got into Mekanism is because, the main reason is because I wanted the digital miner, and also to make the higher grade centrifuges for our bees, like the powered ones, we need these control circuits from Mekanism. So we had to do that to progress our bees, and also in order to get ancient bees, which are over here. So these guys are producing netherite scraps for us. In order to do this, we needed 3 blocks of netherite, and I didn't want to go looking for scraps and mining it manually. So what I did was I made a digital miner. And let me show you how that works really quickly. And we place this down. We need to provide it with power, and this is the side that gives it power. And when you access the machine, you can configure it. And then there are filters and also the radius of how wide you want it to search for different areas. And you can kind of put like 99 or negative. In the nether, your minimum Y level is 0, but in the overworld it goes into the negatives. So you can put like negative 99 and it'll go all the way down to bedrock. And then the Y level we can leave at 200. So this interface controls how wide of an area it's going to search for items, and then this is going to tell it which items to search for. Since we're looking for ancient debris, ancient, I can't spell, ancient debris, there it is. You can do a couple things. So you can do item stack and just drag the ancient debris over here, and it recognizes it. You can press save, and now it has this over here. For things like, let's say, iron ore, if you take a look, there are multiple different kinds of iron ore, and if you don't want to, if you set up the stack filter like this, you would have to set it up for all the different types of ores. But instead, you can do a tag filter. So let's take a look at the tags for iron, and if you look down a little bit, you can see it says C:"ores/iron. That's how all the ores are tagged in this mod pack. So we can go over here, go C:"ores/iron. And when you press the check mark, it'll show you, it'll filter through all of the different ores of iron that it can detect and mine. If you wanted to do something else, you can do like C:"ores/diamond. And it'll have all the different blocks of diamonds in there. Okay. So once you have that set up, you go back to this screen, and then you can decide if you want it to be silk touched or not. We can leave that off because it doesn't matter for ancient debris. And you press start, and there you go. It starts mining all of the ancient debris in the radius that you defined. The reason why it's going so fast is because I have speed and energy upgrades in there. So it's maxed out currently, and I'll show you guys how all of those are made. Now that you know why we were using Mekanism, let's go back home and figure out how we got here. The first thing you need for Mekanism is a metallurgic infuser. So let's search for that. And that is this device. And this kind of gets you started with all of your base resources for Mekanism. pretty easy to craft. And once you have this set up, you see that on the left side here, there's an infusion type, and then you have something that you infuse, and this is the output, and it also requires power. This is the basic version of it, but you can upgrade it to different tiers. So you have basic tier, advanced, elite, and ultimate. And as you get into the higher tiers, it can process more things at the same time. So the base one only has 1 slot, but if we go take a look at the basic ones that I have set up over here, you can see it has 3 slots. The advanced one has 5, the ultimate has 7, and the elite, or I'm sorry, the elite has 7 and the ultimate has 9 slots, if I got that right. So then you put some kind of infusion material in there, and then you put things up here for it to be infused. The main things are copper and osmium. So let's show you what happens when you do that. When we put in osmium, we get these basic control circuits. When we put copper, we get these infused alloys. So these are the base materials for all the different tiers of Mekanism. Then you can go to the next one. So we have redstone. The next one is diamond. So you put diamonds in there. Let me see if I have any diamonds. Here are some enriched diamonds and normal diamonds. So if you take a look, right now it's at 980, and I put 1 diamond in here. If it would work. I guess you... Why is it not working? Well, let's try the enriched one. So I guess for the diamonds, you need enriched one, which is a normal diamond in an enriching factory. You get the enriched diamond like that. Then you put that in this machine, and this fills up. And now if we put the infused alloy back through here, it'll go 1 level higher. And in this one, you put this one is refined obsidian, and you can put the reinforced alloy in there, and it goes up to atomic alloy. Same thing with the control circuits. You can either craft them up to higher tiers by combining it with the alloy in the crafting grid, or you can put it back through the metallurgic infuser for the redstone, and it'll go up to the next level. And then you can take this one, put it in with diamond, and you get the elite one. And again, with the refined obsidian, and you get the ultimate one. So that's kind of how you make the base materials for all of the tiers, is with these infusing factories. And then the infusion types for it, you do in the enrichment chamber. So you put redstone in here and you get refined redstone. You put diamond, you get refined diamond, and you put refined obsidian to get the refined obsidian. The way you make the obsidian one is a little bit different, or a little bit more involved. First, you have to put your obsidian inside of a crusher, and then you get obsidian dust. Then you take the obsidian dust, you put it in the diamond one, and you get refined obsidian dust. And with this refined obsidian dust, you can do 2 things. One, you can put it in the enrichment factory, and you get enriched obsidian to then put back into the metallurgic infuser, so you can infuse it for the ultimate level, ultimate tier of items. Okay, and then the other thing you can do with the refined obsidian dust is you can put it in an osmium compressor, and that combines it with an osmium ingot, and you get refined obsidian ingot. Okay, so that's kind of the basic crafting needs of Mekanism. So you have these infusers that infuse different items with the resources. And if you look at Mekanism and search alloy, for example, you click on any of those, it'll show you. So you put any kind of diamond with this one, and you get the reinforced one. And then if you click on that one, you see that it's copper with redstone. So you kind of go through those crafting mechanics to make yourself the digital miner. And you guys already saw how that works. It's not a super complicated recipe. So you have just a normal control circuit, these atomic alloys, and then the teleportation cores, more atomic alloys, and golden ender pearls. Steel casing, I'll show you guys how I did steel. These guys, pretty basic recipe. The robot requires the refined obsidian ingot. So these are the ones that requires the osmium compressor. And then you just need more steel. These barrels, again, more steel. Pretty basic stuff. The way I did steel, there are a couple of different ways, but you can take some iron. And if you have, instead of putting redstone, you can put coal inside of the infusing factory, and you put the iron inside of there, and it gives you enriched iron. And then you put the enriched iron back through, and you get steel dust. Then you can smelt it. The way I did it was using the ore hammer to make steel dust. So you make iron dust by using the ore hammer again. So I used one of the ore hammers with raw iron, and you get the iron dust, or you can also just do an iron ingot. And then you take that and you combine the ore hammer again with 4 pieces of coal, and you get steel dust. So I just made a few of these steel dusts to be able to do the crafts, and also make a steel, a block of steel for steel bees. So if we take a look at steel bees, they are also pretty simple to make. It's just a coal bee and an iron bee. So I bred those together, and I have a steel bee going. Once I had the digital miner set up, I could mine ancient debris easily. And the way I process this, if you smelt it, you only get 1 netherite scrap out of it. But you can triple it by putting it inside of a crushing factory for Mekanism. You get 3 dirty netherite scraps, and then you put that in the enrichment chamber, and you get 3 netherite scraps for each ancient debris. So that's how I tripled them. And then I combined those to make the netherite blocks. The netherite blocks I used to make ancient bees. So you only need 2, because once you have 2, you can breed them together. So you just feed a diamond bee with the netherite block, and it becomes an ancient bee. And then once I had 2 of them, I bred more. And then with the 3rd netherite block, I put that inside of the beehive as their flower. So now these guys are producing netherite scraps for me. And if you look, I also have diamond. So I have coal, diamond, emerald, steel, and Certus quartz. And the Certus quartz are from spatial bees, which is an ender bee and a crystalline bee. And those will be useful when we get into AE2. Okay. And then I completely updated my bee setup. So let's walk through that. I have an obsidian furnace set over here with a factory augment inside. That allows it to use power, and it also gives it all these extra slots. And then I have an ender cell over here that's connected to my thermo generators, and it's getting power there. And then I added all of these powered centrifuges. You really don't need this many, but the reason why I did it is because we had a huge backlog of items inside of of honeycombs inside of our netherite barrel. So I, wanted to clear that up. And then I don't remember if you guys saw this or not, but I have a fluid drawer that's also storing buckets of honey in it. And then the other thing is, I made this formulaic assemblicator from Mekanism. It's basically just an automatic crafter. And this handles our honey crafting. So as we get honey bottles from our beehives, you can see it's slowly going up. So if I get another one, it's going to craft those into a block of honey and the empty glass bottles. And then those go back into here. So we have our glass bottles over here, and our blocks of honey are going up here. So it just got to 319. So let me show you the code that makes all of this work, and I'll walk you through it really quickly. First, I always like to deal with power. So in this expression, every tick, it's inputting power, Fe, from the ender cell, and it's outputting power to the centrifuge, all the centrifuges, to the furnace, and to the crafter. And the reason why this says top side is because the crafter is a block from Mekanism. And anytime you're dealing with mechanism, machines, or blocks, you have to define a side, otherwise it won't work. So we had to define top side. And then here, we're inputting everything from the beehive. So all of the honeycombs, all of the logs, all of the dyes, all of the blocks that the quarry bees are mining. So everything from the beehives gets inputted. Then we're also inputting everything from the centrifuge, all the items, and also from the furnace. So if we have something inside of the outputs on the furnace, or if you have something in the outputs in the centrifuge and the things, I'm inputting all of those all at once. And then we output the configurable honeycomb and the configurable comb to each centrifuge. So this comes from the beehives. And the reason why I'm defining configurable honeycomb and configurable comb is because I don't want it to get the normal honeycombs from Minecraft, because I'm going to use these to craft the different things, like to craft more beehives, to craft the upgrades. So I only want to process the ones that will give me resources like lapis, like steel, so on and so forth. If I didn't define this, the normal honeycombs would go in there and turn into wax, which is basically useless for us. So anyways, and then so all of those are going to go into the centrifuge, and Super Factory Manager priority works line by line. So it's going to output everything it can to the centrifuge first. Then it's going to move on to the second output, which is outputting everything from the centrifuge, the beehive, and the furnace to our barrel. But there's an exception, so except the configurable combs, because those we want to go into the centrifuge. If I didn't include this in there, it would still output all of the configurable cones and honeycombs inside of the centrifuge, unless the centrifuges were completely full and it couldn't put it into there. Then it would put it into the barrel. When you add this except, it's a fail-safe. So even if the centrifuge is full, our unprocessed honeycombs will not go to the barrel and get stuck over there. They will remain inside of the beehives over here until space opens up in the centrifuges. Then they will get input over there. So that is handling that. And then also, because this output statement to the barrel is seeing the beehive input, centrifuge input, and furnace input, it's also inputting all of those in the same statement. So for example, the oak, the dyes, all of the quarry bee stuff that are not honeycombs, from the beehives cannot go into the centrifuge, so they go to the barrel. All of the processed things from the centrifuge go to the barrel, and everything from the furnace that have been smelted go to the barrel. Next, we're handling fluids from the centrifuge. So some things, like for example, our ender bees, will produce liquid chorus when it's processed. And I don't want to keep liquid chorus. I only want to keep the honey. And that's what this is doing. So I'm inputting all fluids from the centrifuge, and then I'm outputting only the honey to the honey drawer because nothing else can go in there. And then I'm outputting everything except for the honey to the trash. So if the bees make any other kind of fluid, like chorus fluid or anything else, that gets dumped to a fluid trash can. And next, we are taking honey bottles from the barrel and putting it in the crafter. So as the bees make things and the honey bottles fill up, they come back in here. Then the honey bottles from the barrel get picked up and put into the crafter, so they can be crafted down into blocks of honey and back into glass bottles. So then once that is done, I'm inputting from the crafter and outputting it to the barrel. So that's the empty glass bottles and the honey blocks. They come back to the barrel. The honey blocks get stored there, and the empty bottles get recirculated back into the beehives. And this way, the number of bottles used stays constant, and I don't have to keep feeding it more bottles because it's being recirculated. Up next, I'm using tack filters with Super Factory Manager to input all of the raw materials from the barrel and put those into the furnace. So with for example, if you look at the iron honeycomb, when you process that in a centrifuge, you don't get iron ingots, you get raw iron. And I'm taking that raw iron. If you look at the tags on there, the last tag says C:raw_materials. That tag is shared between all raw materials. So the copper, the gold, the iron, all of those get inputted with this statement. So it picks up all of those raw materials from the barrel and it outputs it straight to the furnace. And then this statement is picking up from the furnace and putting it back into the barrel. So that's that loop. And then this last statement is taking glass bottles from the barrel and retaining 2 of them to each of the beehives in slot 0. So with this much code, it's 28 lines of code. You know, if you get rid of the spaces and the name, maybe like 25 lines of code. I basically have it fully automated where I'm feeding it, I'm keeping it stocked with bottles. I'm taking the bottles and crafting them into honey blocks and recirculating the bottles back. I'm processing the honeycombs. I'm feeding everything with the power that it needs. I'm smelting the raw resources into ingots and storing everything in here, including the honey that's in here. So that's why I like Super Factory Manager, because you can really do some pretty crazy setups in a really easy way and easy to manage. And if we did want to expand this, all we have to do is set down another inventory cable, more beehives, and we tag it with our label gun and push the labels back into the manager, and everything starts working. We don't have to mess with the code at all anymore because it's all set up. So as we just add more label blocks, everything will just automatically start working, which is amazing. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, and that was this barrel. So if you look, I have 4 stack upgrades up here, which allows me to have up to 4.194 million items in each slot. So that's why I can store everything in here. The reason why I can have 4, you guys are probably locked at only having 2, is because I changed my config files and removed the limit of how many stack upgrades I could have in my barrel. And then this thing is a compacting upgrade. If we look here on the side, I have it whitelisted for the steel nuggets and the wax. The steel, as well as like the Allthemodium, Vibranium, and Unobtanium bees, when you process the honeycombs, you get nuggets instead of the ingots. So what this does is it compacts, as soon as we have 9 nuggets, it compacts it down into ingots, and I'm storing the ingots. So once we get those other ones, we'll keep them here too. I put speed upgrades in all of these, which was a lot of gold. I think it's a stack of gold for each centrifuge. So just for all of these, I needed 15 stacks of gold. That's why I put these productivity upgrades inside of the gold, for the gold bees. The other ones I upgraded were the draconic bees, because we need the draconic essences that these bees produce to make more of these upgrades. So the faster you can get these guys going early on, the better it is, because then, you know, once you want to get into your omega upgrades for the bees, which are the highest tier upgrades, it'll require a lot of these draconic chunks, which are 9 draconic dusts in each one. Okay. That is kind of the gist of everything I've done so far. Up next, I'd like to continue with our bees a little bit, but I want to I want to make my Allthemodium stuff. So we have access to Allthemodium. If you look at the Allthemodium Bee, it's a withered bee and an ancient bee. We have the ancient bee. We need a wither rose for that. And the wither rose is dropped when a wither kills another. When the wither kills a mob, it drops a wither rose. So we can go do that. I believe you can also get it in the Nether and the Soul Sand Valleys. So we can go check for that really quick and also look for Vibranium. So we'll need to mine Vibranium. So let's go search for some of that. Vibranium is relatively easy to find. You can see it in the ceilings and walls. Here's one. And again, I'm going to hold my Ultimine, but you can't mine while holding the Ultimine. You have to do it separately. So we only got one from that. Which is a shame because we have Fortune 7 on our pick. Okay, so we just found maybe 4 or 5 different ores of Vibranium, and that gave us 19 because of our fortune. And that's plenty. We don't need any more than that. We can use our ore hammer to double all of this. So we have 38 Vibranium, and we'll smelt that up. The Vibranium Bee is Draconic Bee and Ancient Bee, and we have both of those. So let's go ahead and grab a Draconic one and an Ancient Bee, which I'll have to borrow from our beehive. Let's maybe think about our Allthemodium Bee. Let's make a hyper box so we can contain the wither in there. We have enough soul sand. I wonder if I've killed enough wither skeletons. If I kill 25 more wither skeletons, then we'll get that. I could also make a spawn egg. Do we have any wool? Negative. Let's go. These phantoms have been circling. They keep spawning, but because I'm invisible, they can't see me, which is funny. Okay, let me actually put a stop to that real quick. We'll go get our smithing template for from the other dimension. I'd like to take care of that real quick. It's the only smithing template we have left. So we have the netherite one, Allthemodium one, Vibranium one, and we just need the Unobtanium one. So we need a teleport pad. We'll make 2. So the first teleport pad we'll put here, that can take us to the mining dimension. And then we take the second one into the nether. And this will take us to the other. But before we go over there, let's grab our tank. We'll have to make a new one. And we'll upgrade it to this tier. I guess one more. We need 2 more atomic alloys. I don't think I have enough refined obsidian. Never mind, I do. Okay. We're going to use that to collect soul lava, and soul lava is going to be very useful for our thermo generators. So if we take a look at the heat sources, right now we have blazing crystal, which the heat is 2800 degrees Celsius. If we put soul lava underneath, it's 9000, so it's substantially higher, and it'll yield us much more soul lava. And before we go, one other thing, I would like a creature catcher. These guys are full. Can we make another one? We need blaze gold, which is gold. So let's pick up some gold from here. And this thing we can upgrade now that we have more items. So Dragon's Breath and Endstone. I think I have Endstone over here. And Dragon's Breath. And then this we also have. And this is the highest tier goo. So we put down the, not that. We put down the goo, and then we feed the goo with Skulk. And we put down the gold next to it. That will convert shortly. For these guys, fortune doesn't matter. So you can mine it with whatever you want. We'll take our Vibranium. We need more beehives. I guess I can take out these bees for now. So we'll put Allthemodium here, Vibranium will go here, and Unobtanium will go in the last one. Let's put Allthemodium there as well. And also, while we're here, we might as well upgrade our pick so we can mine Allthemodium. Or Unobtanium. They changed it, so now I think you need the Vibranium pick to be able to mine Allthemodium. Or I'm sorry, Unobtanium. So we take a Vibranium smithing template and one Vibranium. And we can do this. And lag. What was it we needed? Feature catcher. Let's grab a couple of those. Okay. We forgot our compass. We need our explorer's compass, and I'll take the nature one too. Back we go again. Okay, we go straight up. First of all, let's take a look. It looks like there's a dungeon right here. So we didn't end up needing our structure compass. This is a pyramid actually, so we can find a Piglich and snag one of them up with this. And we'll use that later. I wonder if I can kill one. We'll ignore him for now. Okay, let's take a look at the explorer's compass, and we're looking for the other dungeon. Look for a dungeon in the other dimension. Get gas over here. Interesting. I need gas tiers for the for end crystals so I can kill the dragon one more time. Alrighty, we are coming up to the dungeon now. This is what it looks like. There will be mobs absolutely everywhere, and they'll wreck your face. But obviously I'm invisible and invincible. I'm not sure if you're tired of hearing me say that yet or not. There is some loot in these places. And also a lot of these spawners. So for example, here we have netherite blocks. But we're not going to mess with that right now. So if you come to the middle of the dungeon, by this, like, whatever this, like, pillar thing is, and you mine the stairs on the side here, you can go down the stairs to the underground section. And that will put you down into the underground dungeon. Then from here, you want to look for a library like this. So these libraries have chests with, there you go. On the first chest we looked at, we got an Unobtanium smithing template. You can also get Allthemodium nuggets. You got Vibranium nuggets. A lot of good enchanted books. So, like Spectral Conjurer 9, it's pretty high level. A ton of gold. So the loot in this dungeon is actually really good. You can go up one level to this part, and there's four more chests up here. You find soul lava in the soul sand valley, which apparently is where we're standing. Let's go underground here. So we can see a bunch if we look on the map up here. So we want to go north, maybe a little bit east, and we'll do a large tunnel. Wow, look at this place. Okay, so we take a look at our fluid tank. We first have to own it, and then we can pick all of this up. These tanks are a great way to collect fluids because you can also put it in bucket mode and just pick up a bunch of this stuff. Okay, just like that, we are done with the other dimension. So we can go ahead and go back home. That was quick and painless. So let's see how that affects our thermogenerators. Let's grab our dirt. Okay, so right now it's at 280% and they're producing 4,200 FE per tick. Oops. So we remove those guys. Then we're going to put that down. It's going to do that. I've made a mess. If you have soul lava on the ground and it's flowing, you can't place another block to like block it off. So that's why I'm going to do it this way. And if we check again, now it's at 900% and it's producing 13,500 each. So that is a lot more than the 4,000. Okay, so just like that, we substantially upgraded our energy storage. Oh, interesting. So soul lava touching water turns into crying obsidian. I did not know that. So you can make an infinite crying obsidian farm. We can probably do a wither. Oh yeah. So now we can do a wither. And let's get the mob catcher. And go catch some mobs to feed to the wither. We then take our hyperbox and we'll put that over here. Then we will enter it and set a wither loose. And we'll throw the zombie down. So once the wither spawns, it should kill the zombie, and then we will get a wither rose, and we can leave. Okay, now that we have the wither rose, we feed that to a skeleton bee, and we need more bee cages and an ancient bee, I believe is. So we have the withered bee. We were trying to make the Allthemodium Bee. Withered bee and ancient bee. And then the Allthemodium one will be for the Unobtanium. We need to get Unobtanium. And now let's worry about getting our Unobtanium, and we need to go to the end for that. Let's make a destruction gadget. And this will require power, so let's make the player transmitter. We need to do some power crafting. Here is a zombie. You right click on an Enderman and it turns into a dimensional one, so it can work cross-dimensionally. You right click again to bind it to yourself. And let's grab our label gun. So we'll put this guy right over here, put the binding card in there, and I'm going to put it over here to the player trans. The reason why I'm putting it here instead of like on top of this is because I want all of the power to go into myself first, and then all the leftover power will go into the player transmitter. The reason being is if we have machines and like our bee automation relying on power, if we ever run out, it's not going to try to fill this up. It'll only be the overflow. So let's go ahead and label that. Now this should be getting power, and our our destruction gadget is filled up. So with that, let's now go to the end and look for a highlands biome. The way this destruction gadget works is we hold G to bring up the thing, and you set up your up, downs, and like all of your different dimensions. And then when you click, it's going to delete all of the blocks, except for Unobtanium, because this can't. It's not that advanced. So it quickly gets rid of everything, and if there is any Unobtanium, it's much easier to find it this way. So we just keep doing this. And again, you have to make sure you're in the end highlands biome. That is the only place Unobtanium spawns. So here's a few. If we look with our thing, there is only 3. Okay, so just like that, we got 11. And we can easily double that to 22, but let's see if we can't find any more while we're here. So with Unobtanium, the Unobtanium Bee requires 4. So if we want to get 5 of them, can we breed them together? So they can't breed among themselves. And we want 5 Unobtanium bees. So we need 20 ingots. And then we need 9 for the block. So we need 29 ingots. So let's just say at least 15. We need at least 15 Unobtanium ores. You can also go like that on the sides. Here's some more. $18 should be enough, but here are 4 more. Okay, let's go back home. Simple enough to do. Let's grab our hammer. And just like that, we have over a stack. And we'll also empty these. I'm probably going to run out of space. I'll have to upgrade my storage pretty soon. Look at that. All right, let's go ahead and set this one up as well. These guys should have sim upgrades. Perfect. Let's take out those bees and that. We'll put Unobtanium there. We need to grow these bees. Allthemodium ones in here. These guys are all Vibranium. So then we need 20 of those and 20 of these. And we have the Vibranium and Allthemodium, was it? The Vibranium one gets Unobtanium, the Allthemodium gets Vibranium, and we'll make 5 of Unobtanium bees. Now we're getting these nuggets as well. I'm going to whitelist these guys so they can turn into ingots also, just for fun, not that we need it. Also do our armor so we're not wasting experience doing mending. We could make experience bees. It's emerald and lapis. Let's go ahead and do that. Lapis and emerald bees. We'll switch them around because this one's higher. Okay. And these guys will drop XP fluid, and we are going to pump that directly into the experience holder from Just Dire Things. Put it on top like that. Okay, and we're going to accept honey, comma, fluid. I think that should work. Experience. Oh, it's XP fluid. XP fluid. XP fluid source from Just Dire Things. Okay. XP fluid source. Then we're going to output fluid XP fluid source to XP holder. Here we will feed Unobtanium bees. Okay, these guys are going now. The experience bees can go in here, and they require any kind of bookshelf. Which I do not have, but let me just make one real quick. Okay, so these guys should be making experience. Let's take a look at this. We're at 75. Really quick, let me show you how amazing it is to expand your thing with Super Factory Manager. So we had all of these beehives set up before, and as you can see, these ones don't have any bottles in them, and currently they're not working. And so, see, these things are getting stuck in here too. So when we have the label gun, we scroll to Beehive. So once you have it set up, you control click them all. They all get linked. Push it into the manager, and look at that. Everything is working perfectly. So when you're expanding a setup with Super Factory Manager, literally all you have to do is set down the blocks, label them, push it into the manager, and your automation just picks up working. Just like that. So super nice, super convenient. One of my favorite things about Super Factory Manager. I think that does it for now. That was kind of all over the place. I hope the explanation for Mekanism wasn't too bad. That can be confusing, but it's, you know, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a lot of steps. So hopefully that was enough for you guys. And we can leave this guy over here. Let's repair our axle. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. I'm not sure what the plan will be, but by the time I start the other video, I will have an idea. So anyways, see you then.